So this here is a 7Artisans EF to Sony E-Mount adapter. This probably is the best adapter available for adapting EF lenses with reliable autofocus. I have here a Sigma 28-105, and I have here a Tamron 28-105 2.8 zoom lens for the Canon EF mount. This is an old classic from the 90s type of lens. The settings I have with relation to autofocus sensitivity on both cameras is set to 5, which is the highest that the sensitivity can go. Now, with relation to the speed though, I've actually toned down the speed. I don't like my autofocusing speed to be like super fast. I slow it down to about a 3. I don't know what the number. I think it goes to a scale of 7 or 10, but I've brought it to the slower side. Regardless of how fast or slow, I know on the Sigma it's gonna be fast, but is it the same with relation to the Tamron? I know there's gonna be a little bit of hunting before it finds it, but no other adapter on the Sony E-Mount gives me the same level, whether it be the Viltrox or the Metabones, hasn't been able to give me control over EF mount cameras like this does. So I'm actually really excited and happy about this. Go to 70. What's interesting is I think because of the light, there we go. Now it caught me on the Sigma. This is the challenge where, like, when you have a high contrast setting, whether or not it catches the focus, but I'm at about 70 millimeters on both cameras. Once the Sigma caught on, it seemed to do just fine. But right now, how is it doing on the Tamron? So if I step out of the scene, right, and then I step back in, does the focus catch me again? This is again 70 millimeters. And if I were to go back far versus come back close, if I leave the scene, let it focus on the back perhaps, I come out towards here, super up close, awkwardly positioned. Now, the cameras are a little too far, but this will be a good showcase of how the autofocus does between the two. It would have been nice to have my 1-year-old here. I know y'all liked that video, for those of you who are subscribed to this channel, when I did the autofocusing test with the S9. But alas, he is at home, and the other one, the older one, is in school right now. So all you get is me. Now let's bump this up to 105 millimeters all the way. And let me move back into a more appropriate space. How is the autofocus? Am I in focus? At 105 millimeters, if I want to get a decent setup where you get what's it called, head and shoulders below, and or even like a medium shot where you get your elbows and stuff, the minimum focus distance for the Tamron is, I think, about arm's length. I think there's a limit as to how close I can get before I go out of focus. This is one of the, yeah, now like it's not going to be able to focus on me, but I think like here is the minimum focus. Whereas on the Sigma, I could probably keep coming closer. There you go. Yeah, you can get like uncomfortably close. Yeah. So I could probably make this its own video. The Sigma 28-105. The used one, this one here, is gonna cost you about $200 some, whereas the Sigma 28-105 will be well over $1,000. I think close to $1,500. Depending on where you get. This is something that's a little bit underrated, what a lot of people don't do, is how is the autofocus when you go from fully zoomed out to, there you go. It's a harder turn on the Tamron in comparison to the Sigma. Well, one of the issues with the Tamron used lens is that its autofocusing motor is actually really loud. To the point where it's going to capture the audio on the microphone. And so unless you are miking somebody up, this is probably not a good situation for video if you're autofocusing. This here is the Canon 17-55 EFS. This is a crop sensor lens, obviously. If you didn't already know and you're shooting on a full frame sensor camera like I am here, you can set it up so that the wide to telephoto toggle that's on the camera, so that you can just kind of crop in a little bit until you get the coverage that you need. Now you are cropping into the sensor, so this is a bit of a digital zoom, but this would allow you to get the coverage of a crop sensor camera. And tell me, do you notice a difference in the sharpness when I zoomed in now, comparing between the two? 28 millimeter, 17 millimeter, equivalent to 2.8, 28, the 2.8 lens. Do you notice a difference? Now you might notice there is a little bit of a difference with relation to brightness. It is at f2.8, but crop sensor lens, you are effectively hitting less of the sensor in terms of light, and so therefore it might produce a darker image. But anyway, I am going to bump this all the way up to 70 mil. Am I not in focus? Am I in focus? So stepping in and out of the frame, turn around, walk back, and then walk forward again. Oh, that's interesting. It lost me when I turned my head around on the other camera. So, but then it found me again. Let's go walk back all the way. So as long as I'm looking at the camera, or it has a face to look at, it's gonna find me for the most part. And how close can I get before, I just kicked the tripod. But minimum focus is pretty good. This is a viable lens option. If you have one already, I know a lot of people have this lens. It's a really good lens. It's a good quality lens. See for yourself, comparing it between the old and the new. Yeah, autofocus test for the 17-55, done. Canon 40mm f2.8 Pancake lens that I've adapted to this. Whereas I'm still shooting on the 28-105 for the Sigma. I think I'm at 40mm on the 28-105. You have demarcations for 28, 35, and 50, so I'm just kind of somewhere in between. Both are full frame lenses, and let's see how close I can get. Now, one of the things I like about the 40mm is that it's got a very close minimum focusing distance. It's a small lens, it's light. It actually makes me want to shoot with the camera. Whereas when you're dealing with something unruly like this, I mean, this is the tripod lens, the 28-105 from Sigma, whereas this is a run and gun, let's go have some fun lens. And here, step out, move back, simple autofocus, right? Maybe step out of frame and then step back into the frame. This lens, I believe, is the best performing lens. It's also a quiet lens, even on the adapted body. This is a cheap lens, and the size of it with an adapter is about the same size as when you're using one of Sony's own like 40mm 2.5 or the 24mm 2.8. So if you have any of the Canon Pancake lenses, you may want to consider just getting this adapter and using it. The 50mm Canon f1.8. Here I have the Sigma 50mm f1.2. So I want to give a leg up because at 1.8 it's harder to autofocus at 1.2 just in general. This autofocus, that's walking backwards, keeping my face to the camera, walking off screen, and then walking back onto the screen. How is the autofocus? How is the image quality difference? Now I do realize that one tripod is higher than the other. If I move back, moving closer again, see minimum focus distance. How close can I get? I know the 50mm, yeah, so this right here is the minimum focus for the 50mm. Whereas with the Sigma 50mm, how close can I get? That right there, it's about the same, similar minimum focusing distance. 1.8 on the Sigma, 1.8 on the Canon. Less than $100 lens, and this is about $1,200 to $1,300 in terms of the price and the cost between them. Native E-Mount, super bright, and here we are, standard, fantastic plastic, nifty 50. How is the autofocus difference between the two of them? Sigma 70 to 200 millimeter on the FX3, Canon 80 to 200 millimeter f2.8. This is not a lens I typically ever use for autofocus, even on Canon, because this autofocusing is just so loud. I don't even know if it works. My assumption is that you're going to hear a lot of clickety clack with the autofocus, and if it is, it'll be captured in the camera. But if I step out of frame, step back into frame at about 80 mil, I love 80 to 85 millimeters as a focal length, just the way it allows you to get that compression. It's not too tight. 80 to 135, that's like a nice portrait type lens setup at 2.8. It looks great. But this is, I'm wondering, am I even in focus? I see a box around my head, but I know the minimum focus on the Canon is actually really long, whereas I mean here I'm totally in focus. I think the minimum focus on this is like 3 feet. So if I were to, this is, I'm maybe like 4 feet away right now from the camera. Am I in focus? I don't know. But I'd be curious to know whether or not it's able to catch me. So this here is 135 mil on both stepping out of frame, stepping back into frame, and I move back, and then I walk it forward. Is it able to track the autofocus and focus rack as I step forward? This is at 200 millimeters. Walking towards, this came out from out of frame. And is it catching me? This is in a controlled lighting for the most part. I'm sure on the 7200 I am in focus. And if I have an instructor here presenting on the podium, standing on the side of the podium, showcasing a book, is it in focus? I can't tell from here because the camera's too far, but it'll be interesting to see. We're at f4 on the Sigma 7200, and we're at wide open f4 on the 70 to 210. This is a lens I got for like 70 bucks off of eBay. I like the lens. It gives me a good look, good aesthetic. I'm just wondering, how is the autofocus? My assumption is that it is working. And so it'll be interesting to see. Now, I know the minimum focus on the 7200 is not that good on the Canon. I don't know. I'm kind of creeping towards it like I'm a cat. Am I in focus? I think that's it. I think this is the minimum focus right here. Whereas on this one, there's no issue. You don't have to think about it. You know it works. The other one, this one being the Sigma. So walking backwards, walking towards the podium, If I were to step out of frame, walk out, and then step back into frame, ta-da! And does it catch me? Boom, 200 there. Let the Sigma's in focus, I think. Canon, I don't see it. I don't know. I see a box around my head. I don't know if it's in focus or not. I'm definitely not in focus anymore. All right, whatever. Tokina, 80 to 400. I think I'm in focus. Definitely in focus on the Sigma. And walking it back. I'm going to step out of frame. Let it focus on the background probably. Step back into frame. Does it catch me? And if I walk forward, get into the appropriate coverage, bump this straight to 200. Am I in the frame? I think so. I was using this at the beach the other day, and what's interesting is this lens, when I'm using it on a Canon body, it is not this loud. At least not that I can remember. I'm at 400 millimeters. This is your sunrise, sunset capturing focal length. You get the Lion King. Question is, am I in focus? I don't know. Hello. I think the Sigma just caught me. Am I in focus? I think so. I think I am. But hello. Tokina 11 to 16 at 16 millimeters on the ZV-E1. And here I have the 16 to 50 OSS crop sensor lens. I just wanted to have something that's, I guess, similar in field of view. I get that this is a crop sensor, but I'm not going to bother zooming into this because I wanted to maintain the same field of view. I wanted to see what the difference is. So if you wanted to get the doorbell look, the fisheye-esque type of thing, although I don't know if this counts as fisheye, but here, one of the things I am surprised with is how quiet and natively behaving the 11 to 16 is. This is at 11 mil, right? And you get the full field of view. And if I wanted to punch in digitally, I can do so. And I get the full field of view, but I'm back to what is the equivalent of 16. And this is now something like a 24 mil on full frame. But I pulled that out. Now I'm back to 16. This is the field of view. Let me hide behind this tree, come up from behind this pillar. And here we are. Am I in focus? How close do I have to get in order for, I'm bouncing from one camera to the next. And so here you have it, Tokina 14 to 20 mil. Now, one of the things I just noticed sometimes is that if you take the lens off and you put another lens on, while the adapter is on the body, it kind of goes haywire. So in order to fix that, I'll take the adapter with the lens off and then put it back on, and it seems to resolve the issue. So it was just hunting back and forth for a second there, but then when I took it off with the adapter, put it back on, it seemed to resolve itself. So this is at 16 mil. Obviously, this is a crop sensor lens. At 20 mil, the 14 to 20 f2 actually gives you nearly full frame coverage. So you're getting a 14 to 20. This is at f2.8 right now, though. So let me open up the aperture. Here we go. How close can I get with reliable? With it, is it sticking? I think, yeah, it is sticking. Now, the reason I'm looking up is because that's where I have the monitor mounted. If I go back, step back around, walk around the tree, come up from behind the pillar, and it still got me. This is great. The lenses that absolutely did not, oh, what's happening here? It kind of crapped out on me. All right. So there's a few lenses here that I didn't showcase because I know they don't work because I tried them before. One is the classic Tokina 28 to, actually 80 to 200. This does not work. It doesn't respond at all. In fact, the aperture doesn't even show up when I have the adapter installed. This is the classic Tokina 28 to 70 mil. Yeah, 28 to 70 mil. This doesn't work. Then this is the one that I did showcase, which is the Tokina 80 to 400 millimeter lens. It's a great lens in terms of its reach and for you to get those beautiful sunsets. But you saw how this thing was behaving. The other thing that and this particular, these are a lot of the lenses that I really like. The 80-200. I don't know if this was focusing or not, but you saw on the video whether or not it focused. Any of these lenses that are like super old, like 70-200, if you gone like really vintage, like late 80s to early 90s type lenses, the ones that did really well, your classic 17-55 that did well. 11-16 mil from Tokina, which I'm really happy about. I like the 16 mil field of view, gives you that action cam look. 40 mil and 50 mil, 2.8 and 1.8 lens. I also have the 24 millimeter f2.8 from the EFS version. I'll probably showcase that at a later time. Generally speaking, newer EF lenses will perform well. Even if you have like one of these lenses in your kit already and you want to just be able to use them again, even for fun on your Sony body, then it's totally worth getting. So in my case, I would like to see my Tokina lenses to work more effectively. And for that, I've actually ordered a Tokina SZ EF to E-Mount adapter. I don't know when it's going to arrive because it was the last one in stock and it's coming from like Germany or something. Whenever that arrives, I'll make another video for that, just kind of showcasing it, specifically with the Tokina lenses and whatever else it has claimed to be compatible with. But anyway, let me know if you have any questions down in the comments below. I'll see you soon.